the given field.
So again, this is the same. It's basically trying to detach yourself and observing yourself. And then, Swamiji gives us example of himself writing this.
As I am writing these words, a certain part in me can stand apart and visualize how my fingers, constituted of mere minerals, can hold the pen at the right slant and carry it along the paper so that the words may be spelled properly thereon. So, in all activities, this capacity to visualize discriminatingly your own activity, this capacity to observe ourselves functioning in a given field with or without the other members of the community is not very rare, and those who can do it can realize how, in spite of all our activities, the observer in us, which observes the activities, is most inactive. Wow.
So this most inactive is that Atma. So basically, this is the same theme, but he's giving you one more angle to look at. That, how, or there is another word that aap log ne sabhi suna, be a witness of your own action, right? Or that Atma is that witness. And I can compare it to a scenario that sun is a witness of what is happening on the earth. Because sun is just there. Without sun, we cannot function. But it is not getting involved in your activity. किसी ने बोला कि सन रेज जब टच भी करती है ना तो कभी मैली नहीं होती है. It's a very interesting phenomena. पानी मैला हो सकता है. But sun rays you can never say the sun rays got contaminated. It can touch a gutter or it can go touch a Ganga water. And this is a fact of life. Light never gets contaminated. So that's what it is, that you just become observer. Like the sun is the observer. You change your seat. From being a doer, you become observer. It's all. And then look at the next example, yeah.
Sorry. The train runs, but not the steam. The fan moves, but not the electricity. The fuel burns, but not the fire. The body, mind, and intellect function and act, but not the self. The life in them.
So everybody got that picture.
The life in them. Yeah. Okay.
That वो आत्मा जो हम लोग बोलते हैं, ब्रह्मन बोलो, आत्मा बोलो, भगवान बोलो, this is another, Kamlaji's question, who's God? God is that observer, the witness. That's another approach to it. God is such a big topic, so you approach him from different angles. So this is one angle. That he's a witness, and witness भी, जो English language में भी witness किसको बोलते हैं? The person who is not involved in that accident. जो दूर खड़ा होके देख रहा है उसी को विटनेस बोला जाएगा. जो अगर पार्टी ऑफ द एक्सीडेंट को विटनेस नहीं माना जाएगा. So same way, there's detached observer.
Such an individual who can thus stand constantly apart from himself and observe the activity in inactivity and complete inactivity even in the highest activity, called unactivity, is termed here, we must carefully note, not a man of realization, jnani, but an intelligent, full-grown human creature, buddhiman. He is the intelligent one among men, and he is certainly one who is very near to the self. Atma Yukta.
So here, like I told you, the Swamiji took the approach that उसको ज्ञानी नहीं बोला है, बुद्धिमान बोला है कि अगर ये बात समझ में आ गई at a worldly level, how to become this detached observer, then he will become ज्ञानी eventually.
In short, desireless activities, when undertaken and performed in a spirit of dedication, purify us, and the intellect thereby gains a new keenness. Out of such a purified head, a new faculty, as it were, arises. The capacity to observe oneself as an actor on the stage of life is a capacity divine and noble, inasmuch as it immediately redeems us from our selfish preoccupations and brushes aside our sorrows with life's ever changing incidents and accidents.
So he's telling you that becoming an observer is, or becoming a witness, is a very important skill that we have to get before we can hope to become a jnani or a moksha prapt karne ke liye. So this is and it can happen with desireless activity and undertaken in a spirit of dedication. Karma yoga karte chalo, it will help you to become the observer, because your mind will get purified and you will realize you're not the doer, and that is the first important step. That's how the approach Swamiji has taken. So I think boliye.
The connection between the next one, do you want me to read that?
Oh. Yeah, sure. You can read it and then we can.
Realization of inaction in action and action in inaction is extolled as follows, and that takes us to the
next one. So the other Swamiji who took the highest approach of moksha in this one, he said ki the next 6 verses are characteristic of a realized soul again, with some other. We already saw a big huge chunk of it in chapter 2, and now it's going to be ki wo kaise behave karta hai, how does he think, and all that will come. That's what it's going to be. And we'll see that how Chinmayanand is pretty much the similar thing, and if there are some differences, both the approach help us to move ahead in our spiritual journey. Whichever appeals to you, you can take either one of them. And they both are not contradictory to each other. They are complementary to each other, both the approaches. So any other thought or question? Instead of going to the next one, since we have only a few minutes, we can discuss. Did everybody get kind of an idea of this?
Yes.
Yeah. But that's
especially
important.
With the examples that are given here, and also the examples that you had previously given us, I think it became very clear.
Yeah. And I like this.
Before that, I had trouble understanding. Before that, when we had just started, I had trouble understanding. But with all this explanation that Swamiji has given, and the examples that Swamiji has given, as well as the examples that you gave, I think helped me to understand even Swamiji's examples more.
Good. That's the whole idea, yeah. I like this one very much when he said that the fan moves and not the electricity. The body, mind, and intellect function, but not the self. So that makes it very, very clear what he's talking about. Anyone has any other comment, question, or want to add anything?
Also, I just felt that the example that Swamiji gives about writing on paper and just observing what you are writing is an excellent example, because we can all relate to that. That's an action that we are actually very actively doing, but we are simply observing. We are at that point, So I thought that was a very good example.
Yeah.
Sushilji, I think I interrupted you. Sorry.
No. I was just going to ask, okay, we understood this thing. How does it help me in our life? Means I understand, okay, so great yogis feel like that. So by understanding this definition or whatever we went over, how is it helping us?
It will help us to go to the next stage of separating our body, mind, and intellect from the Atma. Because right now we are too much into it. I think I'm doing it, that feeling doesn't go away. Like one of the Swamini, I remember when I attended her lecture, she said that look at yourself as a neighbor. Whatever is happening in your life, think that it is your neighbor के घर में हो रहा है. And and तुम्हारा जो नाम है ना, तुम्हारा जैसे my name is Uma. So those things, I am Uma. No, एक पट्टी लगी हुई है मेरे माथे पे, उस पे लिखा हुआ है Uma बस. So I become an observer. अगर कोई इंसिडेंट भी होता है ना सुशील जी अपने लाइफ में, when we are very much involved in it, we cannot think straight. That's why you have to bring a third person. But if I can become the observer of my own action, then I can make a better decision. It's like staying a little bit apart from it. That's all this does for us. It trains us to stay the separation, which is absolutely necessary for that moksha. That's how I'm looking at it, Sushilji.
Okay, thank you.
This given in my book is like an actor, if he is hit by a mock pistol and he dies of fright. The same thing, God is giving us so many tragic things in life, and if we are, just going to get frightened and take it seriously, then we have to take rebirth again. And that's why we have to work in our karmic mode, because we don't want to increase our karmic actions and we don't want to take rebirth again. So just like how we are actors in a stage, same thing we are actors in life here, and we have to, take our, do it with the realization that it's not my plan, it's God's plan, and whatever He gives us, good and the bad, we just do it, sail through it calmly, and like with aloofness, but not with a laziness. You have to act and do your part. You cannot be lazy also.
Joe, you had something? You are beginning to say.
I think Sushil asked an excellent question, but the answer, I don't want to give the answer to that, because what happens is when your stage comes, you develop that stage automatically. In other words, it's one of these stages when you separate yourself from your body and you can observe all the actions of your body. And I don't know how you develop that. You can learn about it, but to have it happen, it has to happen to you. And it will happen in gradual stages. And because it's almost the fifth or sixth stage from my point of view. Like first one is being a jigyasu, means you are curious to find out. Then you open yourself to knowledge, what is meant for you to come to you. And then you go and find a guru, then you find God. Then you go in that mode when you can separate yourself and observe yourself.
So
really, but everybody's stages are different.
You are talking about a path, true, but you're talking about a path.
Another good example I have is, everyone should wonder that, everybody should think about it, that, I have not been born by my own will, it's God who has, created me. And then also just like an employee, when you are employed, you want to please your employee. Same thing, your employee is your God. So, if you're doing what you're doing to please God and not please men in this life, then you're going to be actually doing in the karmic mode work.
I think to me, everybody's point is important, because it's like, again, you can approach it whichever way you want, but practicing being a witness does help. I can tell you from my own experience, because if we think most of the time when something bad things are happening, so-called bad things in the world, okay, if we don't try to become a witness, it affects us a lot more. But if you remember all the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, I'm not my body, mind and intellect, whatever is happening in Prakriti, that helps me to separate myself and observe it. And then all of a sudden it doesn't look that bad. And they, like Tejo Mehananji called this vision of Bhagavad Gita. The higher vision you have means you are becoming more and more a witness, less it's going to affect you.
And only two things you need to do, vairagya and practice. So anything you want to observe that way, you have to have detachment, and then you practice that.
Yeah, that's you're jumping to chapter 6. True. That if somebody says, how do I achieve this witness, being a witness? By vairagya. And vairagya kya hai? Yehi hai na vairagya. All these things are temporary.
Right.
So witness bani gayi na main. If I am not this world and it is all temporary, so automatically I become a witness. So
and
true.
then mentally accepting what Joe says all the time, that you accept that whatever is going to happen, it's going to happen. You are not the doer. It's already decided. So when something comes, you just do it and detach yourself with the result.
Yeah, I think detaching with yourself with the result is a key, Kamlaji. even if you believe in that, okay, whatever is going to happen, but my spiritual progress doesn't depend on that. That's the most important thing. कुछ बुरा हो रहा है संसार की दृष्टि से या अच्छा हो रहा है, वो मेरे प्रारब्ध पे है, मेरे डेस्टिनी, जो भी बोलना है आपको, बट अगर मेरे को स्पिरिचुअल प्रोग्रेस करना है तो भगवान ने बहुत बड़ी युक्ति बता दी है तुमको. Become an observer, do it in a karma mode, it's not going to touch you. So that's the choice is ours. Okay, I do need to go use the restroom, so I'm going to stop. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. So we finished Valli 1, and now it's the second Valli. So whoever has a book, go to the first verse of Dvitiya Valli, section 2 in English, call it section 2. Okay, so far the last one was a very long commentary was there, because he talked about the Shat Sampatti, the qualifications needed. Vivek, Vairagya, Shat Sampatti and Mumukshuttamam we studied. And then in Shat Sampatti there were 6 of them. And just to summarize, Sama, Dhamma, Uparati, Titiksha, Shraddha and Samadhan. And whoever has a book has it. And if you don't have the book, if you put Sadhana Chatushtaya in your internet, you will get this. It is a fixed thing in the Vedanta that everybody knows about this. So these are the pre-qualification needed to study. So you can see that now it comes the point what Joe and Kamlaji were discussing, that how much we understand is going to depend on how much we have done the sadhana chatushtaya. That's why it's called. It's the practices that we have to do to be able to understand this knowledge. So it's just not like a bookish knowledge, but actually we experience it. So now this is the verse in verse 1 of second section. Verse says, Anyat Shreya, Anyat Ut Eva Preya Te Ubhe Nanarthe Purusham Sinitaha Tayoha Shreya Adananasya Sadhu Bhavati Hiyate Thyartha U Preyo Vrinite. Let me do the Sanskrit and then I'll tell you basically what it is. Anyat is the one. Shreya is the good. This is a very important word. Remember that. Shreya. Anyat, another. Uta is an. Eva, indeed. Preya. This word is another very big loaded word that I'm going to. So Shreya or Preya, yaad rakhna ye 2 words. Preya is pleasant. Te, these. Ubhe, 2. Nana, different. Arthe is objective. Purusham, man. Sinitaha, chains, binds. We feel bound. That's called Sinita. Tayoha, of these 2. Shreya is the good. Adadanasya, who chooses. Sadhu is good. Bhavati becomes. Here, get deviated, falls away. Arthat means from the true end or goal. Yaha, he who. U is an. Preya again is a pleasant. Shreya and Preya. Vrunite, chooses. So these 2 words, I'm sure Meena ji and Sushil ji has heard this. Shreyas and Preyas. So it's called, English mein translation, it's poor translation, but we will try. Path of good and path of pleasant. There are 2 paths according to the Vedanta. And this word Shreya has come in Bhagavad Gita 2 times so definitely. One was when Arjun said to Krishna, when he surrendered in the beginning, remember, he was all confused and he got, I'm not going to fight and this and that. And then all of a sudden he kept babbling away, giving all the reasons. And then he said, I think I'm confused. And then he told Krishna Bhagwan, can you please help me? I'm just saying in simple language, but basically he said, he surrendered to Krishna Bhagwan and said, can you please tell me what Shreyas for me? Shreyas means not only good for me, but good for the entire cosmos. उसमें सब कुछ आ जाता है. Because a person who at a slightly higher level of thinking is not going to think about himself only. So like what the point Joe was trying to make, that you cannot be happy by seeing your neighbor unhappy also. Our family mein to 100% hai. If there are 5 members, if one is unhappy, it affects everybody. So a person who is a slightly higher level is going to think of Shreyas of the entire family, not just what is good for me. Prayas is a path of pleasant. I think the best way I can describe it, in America, they have the term instant gratification. Immediately mere ko kya mil raha hai, and I don't even think of long term. So that is path of prayas. So here in section 2, now section 1 was basically what happened in section 1 was that Yamraj was testing Nachiketa. And Nachiketa passed with flying colors. So now Yamraj has to fulfill his promise to, he asked for the third boon. Tell me about, this transcendental thing, that what happens after death, beyond even Swarg Lok and all that, what is there? So now here, what Tejo Mehananji says, he didn't start his teaching right away. Firstly, appreciation of the student he's going to do in first couple of verses, and then the real teaching will start. The real Upanishad is going to start. But in this first few things, besides appreciating, he says a very, very important thing that we have to churn upon. And this is, he talks about Shreyas and Prayas. So what are these Shreyas and Prayas? So I told you the English translation, path of good and path of pleasant. So how do you define this? So there are some pointers over here. Firstly, the main thing about these two paths are their goals are different. And we will see that how these paths come to us. So that's one thing. And there is one common thing with the both paths is they both bind you. True. Because for both you have to do action. You have to do something. So there's a little bondage is there. To-do list hoti hai na wo. But the only difference, the way Tejo Mehananji explained about this was path of prayers, which is just a pleasant one, wo to-do list kabhi khatam hi nahi hoti hai. Because one desire leads to another, to another, to another. But jo Shreyas ka goal hai na, wo moksha hai. Once you achieve that goal, you have nothing to do anymore. To-do list finished. From that highest perspective. Because he's achieved what he's supposed. Now whatever he does it for fun. He doesn't feel bound like we do. There was a very interesting thing in one of the lectures of the Swami. He said, why is it that कि जो कृष्ण भगवान करते हैं उसको लीला बोलते हैं, जो राम भगवान करते हैं उसको राम लीला बोलते हैं और कृष्ण लीला बोलते हैं, हम लोग क्यों नहीं बोलते हैं? Anybody thought about it? क्यों? Yamira ji, you're saying something. No?
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, I thought you were giving answer.
God knows he's the God and he just come here to play his part. So that's why they call it Leela, means drama, and that's why it's called drama.
But हम लोग इसलिए नहीं बोलते हैं because we are bound. Once we reach that status, जो लोग मोक्ष में चले जाते हैं ना, उन लोग के लिए लीला हो जाती है फिर. हम लोग बोले चाहे नहीं बोले, लेकिन that's what the difference is. Because they look at it as a sport, as a play. We look at it as, oh my God, such a serious thing, and all that. That's it. So I thought that was interesting because this is the goal. To make everything a leela is this Shreyas ka kaam hai. Prayas is going to keep you bound. And now the question is two things. One is, how does this path come to us? So from the worldly perspective, when we say, I have so many choices in the world, that's what it appears like. मैं ये करूँ या वो करूँ. From the spiritual perspective, there are only two choices. Shreyas or prayas. That's it. So, जो भी तुम्हारे प्लेट में आता है, उसको मैं श्रेयस की दृष्टि से देखूँ या प्रेयस की दृष्टि से देखूँ, that is up to me. But this path or this shreyas and prayas that come to us, each one of us it comes to, it's not that easy to distinguish. That's another very important thing. They're kind of mixed together, and that's exactly why Arjun got को भ्रम हो गया. हम लोग को भी ऐसा ही होता है. that, what is Shreyas, what is prayers, there is a confusion in our head because it's not a clear path. Like what Tejomayi Anandji said, it's like I come to a crossroad, and one is going to Washington State and the other one is going to San Francisco. Very clear, right? If I want to go to San Francisco, I can go there. Road is, the sign is there, everything is there, GPS tells me, very clear. Shreyas and prayers is not like that. It almost comes like, I don't know which one is Shreyas, which one is prayers. That's exactly what happened to Arjun. And he said, Shreyas and prayers can be in a simple thing about eating every day. We eat 3 times, 4 times, 5 times a day. Agar Shreyas hoga, so you will eat the right thing at the right mode and all that because you want something higher. Prayers hoega, so I love this sweets, or I love the chaat, and then Swamiji also said, you even call yourself junk food and you still eat it. तो वो prayers हो जाता है फिर. See, हर एक चीज में हम prayers और shreyas देख सकते हैं. And then how I want to approach it. That's why it is kind of difficult. And the other important thing in this verse which says is, जो श्रेयस को अपनाते हैं ना, साधु भवति. But he's saying, don't look at it कि वो साधु बन जाता है, मैं सन्यासी बन जाता है. No. That's not the meaning here. Sadhu in this particular context, in this verse, means all good happens to him. That's what it means. So if you follow the path of Shreyas, be sure good things are going to happen to you, means तुम मोक्ष की तरफ बढ़ोगे. So that is the goal, final end of it. Prayers, से क्या होता है? The person who takes the prayers mark, he loses, meaning उसका devolution हो जाता है. So basically क्या होता है कि on this earth we have come for a very higher purpose, and if we follow the path of Shreyas, we will reach our actual goal that we have come here for. But if you follow the path of prayers, you will lose that final goal. And one example is, if we go to the university to get a degree, I should get the degree and come out. Agreed? And if I want to get a degree, I have to go to again and again and again, no matter how many times I fail. But my final thing is, but if I go to the university and I come out without getting a degree, that means I have not gotten my goal. So that's what this prayers will do to you. It will not take you to your final goal. Just regular, you might achieve a lot in the world, true. It can give you status, it can give you money, it can give you all of that. Nobody's saying all that is bad, but you will miss your final goal if you only get stuck with prayers. So that is the difference between the two. So basically they are opposite. They're opposite paths. They're not, together by any means. It appears together, they comes like mixed, but their goals are different. That's what I think the point I'm trying to make. And that's what Tejomayi Anandji was trying to explain. Any question about this? He even had a nice joke. I thought that was a funny joke. He said that संसार में ना कभी भी ड्यूटी खत्म नहीं होती है. So he said, people that are, oh, my duty never ends. There is no beauty in my life, You match the word duty and beauty, And the other point that Tejomayi Anandji, I'm bringing some points by him. He said that there are two things in life that happens. One is what I like, and one is what I value. And they could be different. They could be same also. There could be a situation that I value and I like both, but sometimes it can be opposite also, So basically, what I value is Shreyas, what I like is prayers. Any question? And the other point that he said was, and everybody has heard this phrase in Hindi, खोदा पहाड़ निकला चूहा, right? So he's saying कि अगर संसार में खाली सिर्फ नेम, फेम, लग्जरी, कंफर्ट इसके लिए काम करते जाओगे ना, एंड में तुमको ऐसा लगेगा खोदा पहाड़ निकला चूहा. When you're ready to quit the world, you'll say, what did I get? Because you have to drop everything. But if you have gone on the path of Shreyas, या तो तुमको मुक्ति मिल जाएगी या तुम मुक्ति के बहुत करीब होगे फिर. Both ways, I mean, you're a winner. Suppose if you have to take another life also, but at least you have achieved a lot which you will carry on in your next life. So that's the main thing. So effort being the same, the goals are different. But the reason it's called the path of pleasant versus path of good, because it's in the beginning it's very appealing because you get instant gratification. So it feels, and I mean, some examples Swamiji has given in his commentary that, if somebody wants to get an immediate profit, they will do some bad means and they will get a lot of profit, but long run में उसका कबाड़ा हो जाएगा, So those are things. So let's see, we have 10 minutes, we can read. Anybody volunteer to read?
I can read.
Sneha, you want to read? Okay.
Yama said, one is good while another indeed is pleasant. These two, having different objects, chain, bind a man. Blessed is he between these two, chooses the good alone. But he who chooses what is pleasant loses the true end, the good.
So basically, I told Aditya the one thing that I did not elaborate a little bit, that both of them bind, meaning how Tejomayan ji explained that दोनों के लिए मुझे मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी, काम मुझे करना पड़ेगा, that's why it's called binding. But एक binding ऐसी binding है जिससे छुटकारा है, उसका end goal is freedom. The other one, it's going to bind you more. That's the only difference between the two. So that's a very important thing. Krishna, continue, please.
Having thus tested the disciple and found him worthy of the great knowledge, Lord Death said, good is one thing and pleasant is another. Every action of all living beings is motivated by an irresistible instinct to be happy. Happiness seems to be the goal of every struggle and strife in life. Even a worm crawling in a fecal matter wonders about, motivated by a hope that it would reach a point where a greater joy than it is enjoying at the moment would be its lot. In full and absolute contentment, all desires and hopes end. And this supreme state of desirelessness or hopelessness is the goal of life. This is called Godhood, or the state of Kaivalya. If thus to act is our lot, and we cannot remain without striving for this state of total contentment, it is time that we analyze our experience and decide for ourselves what the true way of striving is.
So I was very amazed at how this Bhagavad Gita and this is going side by side now. He's talking about the same concept, but he's approaching, from the Shreyas and Prayers perspective. He's just telling you how to choose so that you go to the higher. But the idea is to the supreme state of desirelessness mein pahunchna hai hame. But to do, and then the other last part of this paragraph is also very important. हमको कुछ ना कुछ तो करना ही है काम, right? कैसे करूं, कैसे choose करूं, कैसे आगे बढ़ूं, जिससे कि मैं छूट जाऊं. That's the main thing. Go ahead, Sneha.
It is a consideration upon this problem that has brought out this learned stanza from Lord Death himself. Dharmraj classifies all actions with references to their fruits into two divisions. The fruits of action can be of two kinds: those contributing to the prosperity in life and those leading to the immortality in the beyond. That is to say, our efforts can be such as contributing an immediate passing material gain, or such as shall contribute in the long run to our self-culturing and self-purification.
So everybody understood that, right? That basically what the result is going to be different, huh? Go ahead.
Yeah, one is a momentary material gain,
yeah,
pleasant, jo priya hai, and the other one is shreya, is the long-term goal.
Right.
Of self-purification. A heartless black marketeer or a characterless corrupt officer, through foul and fiendish methods, reveling in greed and lust, can win in the money-hoarding race. And to the ignorant and the sensuous, this may appear to be an inviting prospect and a welcoming success too. We as individuals are also free to build our lives upon the more enduring principles of living, such as honesty, piety, truthfulness, mercy, love, tolerance, and so on, and live for the greater wealth of self-culturing and consequent inner peace and joy.
So we know this, right? That, sometimes, by foul means, if they pick up, the people who have not thought deeply, they think, oh, कितना successful आदमी है जी, कर रहा होगा सब उल्टे सीधे काम, और फाइनल उसका रिजल्ट बुरा होने वाला है, but people cannot see that. They just get so fascinated. So it's a very simple example.
It is these two paths of choice freely upon for each individual that have been hinted at here by Lord Death, when he says one is good while another is pleasant. That which is good need not necessarily always be pleasant, although there are pursuits which are good and are at once pleasant also.
So this is a very important thing. इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि जितना भी path of good हो pleasant हो ही नहीं, right? खाने में भी ऐसा ही होता है कि junk food है, but there can be a lot of healthy stuff that you may love to eat also, as it is, and they are very healthy. Some people love to eat fruits, so that is their liking also, and that is a good for health also. But the point over here is that not always it is to your liking. That's all you have to remember. So when it is not to your liking, don't give in to it, because just recognize that what is Shreyas. That's all he's saying.
That spiritual hero who consistently sticks to the path of good, unmindful of the unpleasantness and material privations, and who has to suffer in course of his higher pursuits, is the one who reaches the true end, the state of enduring joy.
So we also know that it's like a titiksha. The person has got a titiksha. He will endure. And somebody was given an example that the person who is really enduring it, usko lagta bhi nahi hai itna bura. It's like a new mother. When the baby is born, she will forgo her sleep, her food, whatever, and she's not going to even complain about it, because she loves the little baby so much. She's very easily willing to sacrifice. So वो किसी और को बहुत बड़ा sacrifice लग रहा होगा, मगर the person who has the right attitude is not going to feel also कि he's doing such a huge sacrifice.
The statement, both these chain a man, is very significant from the higher standpoint of the supreme goal. The path of the pleasant abduct the pursuer often into the dangerous jungles of crimes and sins, thereby ensuring him a long lease of painful existence as a conscious being born in the lower wombs or yonis. That is, by the pursuit of the pleasant, we are pulling ourselves down and scheming to remain in the lower scapes of evolution. Sins and criminalities are blockades over which we tumble to fall back into the lower rungs of the ladder of evolution. Similarly, to a conscious following of the path of the good with the desire to enjoy the fruits thereof would be demanding for ourselves a transfer into the softer planes of consciousness, the worlds of the gods, wherein such people will have to take embodiments to live through the fruits of their meritorious acts. To be the perfect seeker of the absolute, therefore, both the path of the pleasant and the path of the good are bondage indeed.
So here Swamiji has taken a slightly different approach again. He's talking about that going through the Swargalok, wayside station again. Instead of going directly, he's saying that, path of good can again binds you, because it तुमको स्वर्ग पे चले जाओगे तुम, and फिर वहाँ पर waste करोगे time and all that. Tejomayanand took a slightly different approach. He actually said that if you truly follow the path of Shreyas or path of good, you will reach the moksha. So it's okay. Both ways you can learn something from both the approaches, because that danger is there. You can still be bound, in the path of, if you're not careful, in the path of Shreyas, because that's why people बोलते हैं ना सकाम भक्ति करते हैं लोग. एक होती है निष्काम भक्ति और एक सकाम भक्ति, मुझे ये मिल जाए वो मिल जाए and all, you will become a good person, you will not hurt anybody, but you still have a desire tagged at the end. And the other one is like desirelessness, which will take you to the highest. So whichever way you want to see it. So anyway, time is up. Anybody has any question about this particular Shreyas and Prayas? And then in next verse.
I noticed that I'm on page 67, last stanza. Similarly to a conscious following of the path of the good, and it says with a desire to enjoy the fruits thereof.
Correct.
So that is what is going to bind you.
Yes.
And I think what Swami Tejomayananda ji said, according to you, is that if you are not desirous of the fruits thereof, then it will lead to moksha.
Very good.
If you want the fruits of your good actions, then you will be born in a higher plane, as opposed to when you are in the Priya stage. Is that correct?
Absolutely correct. Okay. That's exactly what it is. Because the moment you want fruit of action, तो वो future हो गया ना. You want some future place. And so that's why, like right now in our Chinmaya Mission teachers class, we are on chapter 12. And Krishna Bhagavan is so kind in there. He's saying, you do this, okay, you cannot do this, then do the next thing. You cannot do this, you do the next thing. But he said the highest thing somebody can do is drop the fruit of action. That will take you to the highest. So this dropping the fruit of action is a very powerful thing to do. True. Any other thing? Anybody wants to, any comment, question? I don't want to add anything. Okay.
The chapter, it says Lord Death's teaching on immorality.
Immortality.
Apprehension of the eternal reality.
Sorry, say it again. Say it again.
The beginning of the section 2, Dvityavalli, Lord Death's teaching on immorality.
Immortality. Yeah.
Yeah, immortality. The comprehension and apprehension of the eternal reality. So comprehension means understanding, and apprehension means what would you say of the eternal reality?
I think apprehensions may be like anxieties that we have.
Okay.
No. Sorry. Completely wrong. Apprehension over here means usko pakad lena theek se. Apprehend something. That's what it means.
Mira would be able to say.
That's what the meaning over here. I apprehend something.
Yeah, apprehension would be anxiety. But in this context, I don't know if it is something different.
It is something different.
Okay.
Comprehension means to samajhna.
Understanding of immortality. So Lord Death is teaching us how to understand immortality and the apprehension of the eternal reality. So apprehension meaning how to understand, grasp, maybe, is that what you mean?
That's exactly what it means, Meeraji. Yeah. Like when you say to apprehend something is to grasp, so it has double meaning, but in this context, the meaning is grasping it.
Okay.
Any other thing? Because if you think about it, grasping is everything. How much do I understand it? People can, say Gita ka shloka, they can, memorize it, or they can tell you the worldly meaning, intellectual meaning of it, but how much is you're really getting into your psyche is the main thing. Any other thing? I'm going to close the class here. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.